Hello, we are Team 17. My name is Angel Baez. My team members are Christopher Perez and George Silva, and the topic of our project is Lean Six Sigma Black Belt certification. The focus of this project was to research this certification. This certification is basically a process that teaches methods to increase profits while cutting excess costs and reducing error. Reasons for getting the certification: it makes you more valuable as an individual in the eyes of a company, and you're eligible for higher salary. Some history behind the process can be traced back into the 1800s to a Carl Friedrich Gauss. It was looked upon as a standard for measurement. He actually introduced the concept of the normal curve. Back into the 1920s as a standard measurement for product variation by a Walter Schuer, who actually demonstrated that 3 sigma from the mean is the point at which a process should be modified. The term Six Sigma was coined back in 1986 to a Motorola engineer named Bill Smith, and is actually a Motorola trademark today. So we can break this down into 2 sections. The actual Six Sigma part of the system is they're basically targeting how to remove the cost and defects and errors in the manufacturing process, where the lean techniques is basically going to trim the unnecessary expenses and practices. Okay, so if we take these 2 parts, lean focuses on creating speed. They're creating speed by removing the waste. They remove steps that don't add any value, and they're going to fix connection between the steps. Then we're going to take Six Sigma, which is basically going to focus on accuracy. They're going to reduce the variation between steps. They're going to optimize the remaining processes and steps. And then when you add them together, we're going to end up with better delivery, better quality, and happier customers and employees. 8 wastes. The waste that this Lean Six Sigma focuses on, there's 8 of them. And they are defects, overproduction, waiting, non-utilized talent, transportation, inventory, motion, and over-processing. It says extra processing, but it's really over-processing.
The Lean Six Sigma system uses 2 basic approaches, the DMAIC and the DMADV. These 2 methodologies are alike. They both are used to reduce defects in a system. They have no place for intuition, which means the solutions are reached by data and facts. They are implemented to meet the business financial bottom line numbers, and are implemented by green belts, black belts, and master black belts. The DMAIC is used to improve current business practices, and that is an acronym which is define, measure, analyze, improve, and control. In the first step, the company defines the client's problem, so then we can get measurements of said problem with raw data and facts, so then we can analyze them and get some solutions, and that solution can be improved so that control can be placed. The DMADV stands for Define, Measure, Analyze, Design, and Verify. It creates new business techniques and practices based on customer needs. We barely use it because the system tends to leave little room for innovation. The main idea behind lean operations is based on the principle to trim any unnecessary, outdated, or ineffective expense or practices. With that, we increase efficiency, we get more profits for the company or the client, higher customer satisfaction is reached, the satisfaction within the company by their employees is also higher. Each individual inside the company is more valuable, and higher quality of performance is expected. Some limitations are found within the system in the type of procedures and measurements. Short-term benefits are expected most of the times. Lack of innovation and creativity is actually applied. Difficult to follow each step of this process. No general standard from company to company, and time of certification might be a little bit long. Six Sigma certifications level are offered into 4 stages going from highest to lowest. Master black belts, green belts, and yellow belts.
There are certain steps a green belt must take before they get a black belt. First, they must work for 3 years with the green belt and must be a part of 2 Lean Sigma 6 projects. Then they have to take an exam of certification in which they pass, they get a big fancy diploma. Now, the black belt is supposed to be the leader of the group. They're in charge of leading everything to do what they need to do when it needs to be done. They have to coach yellow belts and green belts in order for them to get to that level of certification as a black belt. They're also a full-time leader and are in charge of basically anything the project must do. The system is very, very complex, and if it's not done correctly, there are a lot of things that can go wrong. And all these successes, if it's implemented successfully, are short-term due to their nature. However, customer satisfaction will become even higher than it was before due to the fact that companies get to see how they're progressing, and the consumers also understand how the company is progressing as well. Now, this is the error percent curve, or the quality production curve, in which certain processes go through the first inspection. It's normally compared to the stress strain curve of a spring because of how the graph yields in its curvature. In the stretching phase of this analogy, the company and the employees are motivated to do the changes that need to be done when an expert is brought in to identify those changes. And they go and do it with utmost efficiency and drive. In the yielding stretch of the analogy, the profits are maximized and the efficiencies are maximized. However, this goes downhill when we get to the failing. Basically, engineers are very strict on the policies they use in order to do their processes, and as time moves on, they tend to go back to the processes because it's a lot easier. Therefore, the quality will go all the way down to where it first started, or significantly less than it was before. Now, some improvements to this system is that Sigma 6 expert, if he was employed full-time, he will be able to make sure that the yielding part of the curve is longer due to the fact that there will be more motivation in doing the changes. If you standardize the system, it will be a lot easier for multiple experts to come in, as well as have different aspects of the company that they can go into in order to standardize them as well. And if they have to go to other companies, they can just transfer without any problem. The higher management needs to show its interest no matter what in all of this in order for them to have the capacity to maintain all of this goodness. Smaller teams and smaller projects means more drive and motivation within that small time period because you're not bloating it. Now, unfortunately, because of all the flaws in the system, our group can't recommend anyone, company or individual, to go ahead and get this certification for the system. If the improvements that we have done will be implemented in the future, it will be worthwhile for both companies and individuals to get this certification.